Have you ever reached a point where even small things start to feel unbearably loud? Your phone buzzing, a message waiting for a reply, the television playing in the background, someone asking you a simple question. The lights feel too bright, your thoughts feel too fast, and somehow, even deciding what to eat for dinner feels like one more thing you cannot handle. If that is where you are right now, you do not need to figure everything out. You do not need to be productive. You do not need to answer everyone. For the next few minutes, you can simply be here. Let the world wait outside for a little while. Take a slow breath. And if you can, make your surroundings a little quieter. Dim the lights. Put your phone face down. Get comfortable. Let your shoulders drop. You have been taking in a lot. Maybe more than you realized. Sometimes overstimulation does not look dramatic. It can look like becoming unusually irritated by a small noise, feeling exhausted after talking to people all day, reading the same sentence 3 times because your mind will not settle, opening your phone without even knowing what you are looking for, wanting someone to leave you alone while also feeling strangely lonely. You might feel tired, but not sleepy. You might want silence, but then find yourself filling the silence with more scrolling. You might feel like crying without really knowing why, and maybe you have been wondering what is wrong with you. Nothing is necessarily wrong with you. Sometimes your mind and body are simply saying, that is enough for now. Sensory overload can happen when the amount of information coming through your senses feels greater than you can comfortably process. It can involve sound, light, touch, smell, movement, or several things at once. And it can happen to anyone. You do not need to have a particular diagnosis for the world to sometimes feel like too much. Research and clinical guidance describe sensory overload as something that can trigger a stress response in the body. People may experience anxiety, irritability, difficulty concentrating, racing thoughts, or that strange feeling of being mentally frozen. So if you have been thinking, why can't I just calm down? Maybe the better question is, what have I been asking myself to process today? Because your brain has been working all day. Reading, listening, remembering, deciding, planning, watching, responding, switching from one task to another, taking in conversations, notifications, news, emails, faces, sounds, expectations. Even when you are sitting still, your mind may be running. And eventually, it can feel like a room where everyone is talking at once. You are still standing there. You are still functioning, but you cannot hear yourself think. And maybe that is what you need right now. Not another solution, not another piece of advice. Just less. Less noise. Less information. Less pressure. Less having to be on. The American Psychological Association describes mental rest as giving your brain a chance to quiet down and refuel. It can be as simple as taking breaks from mentally demanding tasks or doing something low stakes that does not require much decision making. There is something comforting about that. Rest does not always have to mean sleeping. Sometimes rest means not having to decide. Sometimes it means sitting beside a window, taking a warm shower, folding clothes slowly, listening to rain, walking without a podcast playing in your ears, or simply lying down and staring at the ceiling. There does not have to be a purpose. You are allowed to have moments in your day that produce nothing. So for now, let's make this moment smaller. You do not have to think about tomorrow. You do not have to revisit yesterday. You do not have to solve the conversation you had earlier. You do not have to figure out what that person meant by their message. You do not have to decide what happens next. Just notice where you are. Maybe you are lying in bed. Maybe you are sitting in your car. Maybe you are at work, hiding somewhere quiet for 5 minutes. Maybe you are listening to this with your eyes closed. Wherever you are, let your body know that it does not have to rush for a moment. Feel the surface underneath you. Notice the weight of your body. Feel the fabric against your skin. Notice the temperature of the room. Listen for the quietest sound you can hear. Maybe it is the hum of an air conditioner. Maybe it is distant traffic. Maybe it is the sound of your own breathing. You do not need to make the room completely silent. You only need to give your attention somewhere gentle to land. And if your thoughts keep coming, that is okay. You do not have to force them away. Imagine your thoughts as people walking past a window. You can see them, but you do not have to invite every one of them inside. There is the thought about work. Let it pass. There is the thought about money. Let it pass. There is the message you still need to answer. Let it pass. There is that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago that your brain has somehow decided to remember tonight. Let that one pass too. You can come back to all of it later. Nothing needs your attention this second. And maybe this is something you have forgotten. You are allowed to be unavailable. You are allowed to put your phone on silent. You are allowed to answer tomorrow. You are allowed to say, I don't have the energy for this right now. You are allowed to leave a room because it is too loud. You are allowed to turn the television off. You are allowed to close the curtains. You are allowed to take a break from people you love. Needing quiet does not mean you do not love them. Needing space does not make you selfish. Sometimes being alone for a little while is how you become available to yourself again. The APA also describes social rest as something that can be useful for anyone, not only people who consider themselves introverted. Constantly being around people can mean constantly being on, and that can become draining. So if you have been craving a quiet evening alone, perhaps you do not need to feel guilty about it. Maybe your mind is asking for room. Room to breathe. Room to hear your own thoughts. Room to simply exist without reacting to anyone. And if you have been overstimulated for a long time, Do not expect yourself to become perfectly calm in 30 seconds. You are not a switch. You are a human being. Sometimes the nervous system needs time to settle. Think of a glass of water that has been shaken. If you keep shaking it and then demand that it become clear immediately, it will not. But if you put it down, if you leave it alone, if you give it time, the movement slowly settles. The water becomes clear again. Maybe you are like that tonight. You do not need to force yourself into calmness. You can simply stop shaking the glass. Close another tab. Turn down another source of noise. Put one thing down. Then another. You do not have to remove every problem from your life. You just need to give yourself a little less to carry right now. And maybe tomorrow, you will have more capacity. Maybe the message will feel easier to answer. The decision will feel less complicated. The noise will not bother you quite as much. But tonight does not need to be tomorrow. Tonight can simply be tonight. A quiet room, a softer light, a slower breath, a few minutes where nobody needs anything from you. And if you are listening because you are exhausted, I hope you know that exhaustion is not always a sign that you have done something wrong. Sometimes it is simply evidence that you have been carrying a lot. You have been thinking. You have been coping. You have been adapting. You have been showing up. Maybe you have been holding yourself together for longer than anyone knows. So let yourself loosen your grip. Just a little. You do not have to hold everything so tightly. Let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders become heavy. Let your hands rest. Take another slow breath. And when you breathe out, imagine setting something down. Not forever, just for tonight. The unanswered question. The unfinished task. The conversation. The expectation. The guilt. Set it down. It will still be there if it needs to be tomorrow. But you do not have to carry it into this moment. For now, let the world become smaller. Just this room. Just this breath. Just this moment. There is nowhere else you need to be. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply tired. And tired people deserve gentleness too. So if you can, stay here for another moment. Listen to the quiet between the words. Feel the air moving in and out. Let your eyes become heavy if they want to. Let your body settle into whatever is supporting you. You have permission to stop processing everything. You have permission to stop performing. You have permission to rest. The world will still be there when you return. The notifications will still be there. The responsibilities will still be there. But perhaps you will meet them with a little more space inside you. And maybe that is enough for tonight. Not fixing everything, not becoming a new person, just becoming a little less overwhelmed, a little quieter, a little softer. So stay here. Breathe slowly. Let the noise fade into the background. You have done enough for today. You can rest now. Wherever you are right now, I'm glad you made it here. Thank you for listening, liking, and commenting. Please share Soul Planet with someone who you think may need it.